So with Boruto and Jiraiya happening right now, I think the story is about to shift the direction it's heading in. And with that, I mean the negation of prescience. And with the negation of prescience, sadly, that means Kashin Koji's role in the story greatly diminishes. Back in chapter 16, Koji stated to Boruto that the more people that know the future, the more the nature of that future changes. Once you know a future, you can no longer just act like you don't know it. You start to move differently than before, even if you try your hardest not to. It's always going to be psychologically there. I believe this conversation with Koji will come back to haunt Boruto, but not in the way we all think. You see, throughout the duration of Tubu Vortex, we learn firsthand that having prior knowledge of the future is the best way to impact the outcome of the future. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. An example of it working was when Koji informed Boruto that the Shinju finally made their move into Konoha. You see, he already knew the Shinju would appear in Konoha, but to be more accurate as to know when, he already planted a toad in Konoha to give him direct surveillance of that area. And from there, he was able to alert Boruto in time for him to get to Konoha and rescue Sarada and Himawari from being devoured. An example of it not working is Boruto trying to destroy the Ten Tails before the emergence of the Shinju. He made it all the way to the Ten Tails dimension, but he didn't make it in time before the Shinju were born. So therefore, this is an instance where we knew it was going to happen, but they couldn't do anything to actually influence the future to the outcome that was favorable to them. Now, one of the most anticipated characters to make an appearance very soon in the story is Momoshiki, a character who's been missing from the story for exactly 22 chapters now. He was said to not have been seen since Boruto and Sasuke had their conflict with Code. At least that's what Boruto stated. He didn't state whether he had a conversation with Momoshiki during that time or not. Perhaps all that happened was him just trying to hijack Boruto's body, but who knows? We still don't have all the details as of what happened throughout the time skip. And according to how the story is going about showing us, we'll probably get more and more details about it in short flashbacks as the story goes on. You see, we got a pretty lengthy one in chapter 5, basically showing us how Sasuke was turned into a tree, and another one to show us how Boruto and Koji came across each other during the time skip. And we also got a very short flashback of Boruto and Sasuke talking about Sarada's Mangekyo Sharingan's significance. So that's how the story wants to show us, just giving us more and more information as the chapters go by. So with that being said, perhaps we can get another small flashback for next chapter that shows us a glimpse of Boruto trying to use the karma against Code. And not only that, but what happened because of it. He described the feeling as him dying while being fully conscious and aware. So I really want to see what that looks like. Like, was he really telling the full story to Kawaki? I mean, if he did have a conversation with Momoshiki, would Boruto tell Kawaki what that conversation entailed? That probably wouldn't be the best idea. So I wouldn't hold it past Boruto if he just didn't tell Kawaki. He knows how he feels about Otsutsuki. Since Kawaki asked about Momoshiki, he really had to tell him something. But I feel Boruto may have left out some key details from that encounter. It feels too sketchy. But with that being said, this is the main reason why I feel like a Momoshiki emergence is so likely. As such a major character like Momoshiki is, the audience already feels like it's weird that he isn't a bigger factor in the story as it is already. Especially considering the fact that there was multiple opportunities that we could have seen Momoshiki make his time skip debut, and he just hasn't. The chapter I was most certain he would make an appearance was chapter 12. Boruto was knocked unconscious for a decent minute, more than enough time for Momoshiki's soul to overshadow Boruto's for the time being. Could it be that he didn't see it as a good time to do it, or is it because he simply didn't want to fight Kawaki again? I mean, later on after their first fight, he said he didn't want to tangle with Kawaki again. So maybe it could have been that he just didn't want to fight Kawaki for some reason. And I don't think it's because he's scared of Kawaki per se. It could be another reason we just don't know yet. We often forget that other than Koji, Momoshiki has his own form of clairvoyant powers. And he specifically can only see the future through the eyes of Boruto. That's why the ability is so limited compared to prescience, which is considered the superior technique. I think Ikimoto said that Momoshiki's foresight ability isn't even Shinjutsu, but an ability unique to him. So if anything, Momoshiki could have wanted to stay undercover until a point in time comes to where he could emerge and make the most impact. And for that, he would need Konohamaru, Sarada, and the others to remain alive. They would be the pawns in this little game. Because what did they do? They took care of Ryu and Matsuri. And because Konohamaru found himself in grave danger against Matsuri, that forced Boruto into action, which triggered the Jura battle. Now, there would be no way Momoshiki could see all that happening, but he could see Boruto helping in finishing off Matsuri to save Konohamaru, which led him to the situation here where he is about to get killed by Jura. You see, what was actually going on the whole time.
I'm actually super excited for this anime to come back. I will say, I like at first I wasn't the biggest Boruto supporter because it's so different from Naruto. They made so many advancements, so many changes that it really doesn't feel like Naruto. But I do like Boruto for what it is, and I will say, Two Blue Vortex, they're doing their thing. Okay, it's been a really good arc so far, and that's coming from somebody who really hasn't really been keeping up with the manga, not like I used to. But I'm super excited for when the anime does return, like I said. And if I'm right, the studio that does the anime actually they do Black Clover as well, and they push back Black Clover to do Baruto because Baruto is really it's super popular right now with the manga going off. So I'm super excited, dude. I can't wait.
Was his game, and everyone was playing right into it. Why didn't anyone suspect that along with Boruto, Ada, and Kashin Koji, Momoshiki could have qualified to be another singularity of fate? Because he does have the necessary information and knowledge on the future. However, he can't make an impact on the future as much as Koji and the others can because he doesn't have a physical body anymore. So if he does make any physical changes to the future, it'll have to be through Boruto's body. But in terms of him having that knowledge, he been had it. The whole time Koji was talking to Boruto about his ability, Momoshiki was listening in on everything and keeping tabs on what he was learning, especially when he said he would be killed by Jura. Now, we fast forward to the present. I think Koji just confirmed that this is the time that Boruto is going to officially die. He even said to Ada that Boruto doesn't stand a chance now. He finished with no way out of this one. So that's proof right there. Boruto is destined to die here, which makes this the absolute perfect opportunity for Momoshiki to finally make his Two Blue Vortex debut. As of right now, we don't have any additional knowledge on what Momoshiki's plan is now that Boruto basically stole the last 18 or so percent of his DNA for him to resurrect. So fully coming back to life through Boruto's karma isn't a realistic reality anymore. And then his other plan was for him to give up his body when he was forced into a life of a royal shinobi, but that didn't work out either. All it did was drive Boruto even harder to get his life back. But that's why I said a flashback now would be very important to establish a new plan for Momoshiki to reach his ultimate goal. And whatever plan it is to get to his goal, he would definitely need to protect Boruto to get there because that's his vessel. It's like a weird possessiveness he has over Boruto. It's like you're mine and can't nobody have you type relationship. So I don't think Momoshiki would just sit back.
Yeah. Your mind, like nobody can have you. Definitely like toxic. They're very, very toxic relationship. But I think it's a really cool. I think it's a cool idea. The fact that Momoshiki's kind of keeping him alive until he's ready to make his move, and I think that's what I'm super excited to see. And we did see that back in the a couple of the episodes in the anime, but I'm super excited to see how he's going to do it for certain. We know for sure the Barto's going to lose everything, but obviously he's the main character, right? Like, can he really die? But this is Naruto. Well, Baruto, Next Generations. I mean, they brought people back from the dead before. I mean, pretty sure he can resurrect himself. I mean, who knows at this point, dude? Baruto has so many different abilities. Like he's literally broken. But yeah, I'm super excited for the anime.
Back and let Jura kill off Boruto either way. But now it makes more sense if there definitely isn't going to be anyone to come save Boruto. This could be his only possible option to stay alive. And the fact that Kashin Koji didn't see this outcome as a possibility says a lot too. Because if this is a reality, then why can't Kashin Koji see it? Here's what I think. We all know that Momoshiki is basically the fourth singularity of fate. He knows what's going to happen in the future, so he's an anomaly to the timeline. If someone knows the future, it makes it that much harder to predict because the future will branch off into more complex ways. He also said that the more futures you know, the greater you diverge from the track called fate. And the more you diverge from fate, you start to become a singularity, a heretical existence, which makes the future unstable. Momoshiki now holds the keys to certain futures because of his foresight. So he's a being that's able to diverge from fate, making the future that much harder to predict for Koji. So for that reason, I can for sure see Koji just misreading the future because of Momoshiki. The concept of timeline manipulation took a while to fully understand, but through understanding it, you'll see just how fragile time is. Literally anything could throw fate off course. So it's very important they do things a certain way and at a certain time to ensure the best possible future. Now, at the end of the chapter, I honestly see them ending chapter 23 off a big cliffhanger. A cliffhanger of Boruto laying on the ground unalive. That means the majority of the chapter could be Boruto just struggling to stay alive against Jiraiya. Very similar to this chapter. Since the Uzuhiko didn't work, this is when we'll see Boruto at his most desperate state. So he'll be using techniques that he normally wouldn't be using otherwise. Perhaps maybe a different point of view. Maybe we see what Konohamaru and the rest are up to. I say he meets up with Mitsuki and tells him what happened with Boruto, or if Mitsuki is still fighting against the Claw Grimes, he can help him with that as well. So that could be very likely too. But mainly, I see another mini flashback for chapter 23, following more fighting between Boruto and Jiraiya. And then at the end, we get a teaser for a Momoshiki appearance for chapter 24, which for some people, it may be a little underwhelming because a lot of people just want to see Momoshiki now. But they gotta understand how Ikimoto likes leaving us on cliffhangers for big events like that. So the odds that he just has Boruto fight Jiraiya, get quote unquote killed, and then have Momoshiki emerge all in one chapter, that's not a high possibility. So yeah, that's really all there is that I want to say about that. What do you think we could see in the next?
To be honest, I'm actually fine with that cliffhanger because we know in the next chapter there's going to be a lot of good stuff in there to dive into. Yeah, guys, I'm super excited that I actually got to review this chapter. I thought it was really, really good, and I'm going to go back and actually check out the other stuff too. I'll be posting more Baruto as well. I'm going to get into that stuff now that the anime will be coming shortly, if not soon enough. But yeah, I want you guys to jump down in the comments. How'd you guys feel about chapter 23? How do you guys feel about Baruto Awakening? How you guys feel about Momoshiki? When do you think he'll be ready to strike? All right. Make sure you guys subscribe, like if you're new. It's your boy KIDSTATIIC, and I'm out. Peace.